Hey guys, Luke here, and apologies, I'm kind of half asleep while recording this. I really should have filmed this last night, but hey, here we go. It's in the morning, it's early in the morning, and we got to do our weekly wrap-up of round 6 of the NRL, and what a round it was. I actually thought it was a pretty good round of footy, some really good contests, probably the match of the year so far, with the Storm and the Roosters, and some other really good clashes. Let's get into the wrap-up. First game of the round saw the Cronulla Sharks defeat the Penrith Panthers. A bit of a comeback for the Sharks. Was a pretty good game in my opinion. Panthers probably should have won that one. I think they'll regret not winning that one. I mean, obviously you regret every loss, but that was a game that they should have won. They were in a position to win, and they kind of choked it. I'm not going to lie. The Sharks, they were pretty good in the end. They just got the momentum in front of the home crowd, in front of Scott Morrison, the Prime Minister, and they sort of brought it home. Bronson Xerri looked pretty good out in the centres, but yeah, overall just a pretty strong performance from the Sharks, but it's not something that I'd get too excited about because I thought Penrith Panthers were pretty terrible. They just been pretty terrible all year, so really beating them at this point, it's not that big of an achievement, but hey, the Sharks, it was a good comeback for them, so they should be proud of their efforts. Also, I just want to say, Andrew Fafita, I took you out of my bloody Supercoach because you were injured, and then you ended up playing and scoring over 100 points. What the hell, bro? On to the second game of the round, it was the South Sydney Rabbitohs defeating the Bulldogs. Now, I think this was the first time I'm talking about the Bulldogs, and it's not been on a Sunday afternoon game, so a little bit different, but Friday afternoon, not too much different, I guess. But yeah, I thought the Bulldogs put up a pretty good effort. The Rabbitohs, they've kind of just been coasting along lately. They haven't been like outstanding or anything, but they've been getting the job done. That's all you need to do at this point in the season. I do think they'll step it up a notch, you know, come around, you know, just after Origin and that, but I thought the Bulldogs were brave. I thought they were pretty good at times. Like, as a Bulldogs supporter, I can't complain, especially after last week where we were just absolute dog shit against the Dragons. And going into this game, I thought we were going to get absolutely towed up. It wasn't the case. We're in the game at different points, but yeah, the Rabbitohs, I think the Rabbitohs, they always look like they were going to win, but it's just nice to actually watch a game and it kind of be half competitive for the Bulldogs. But yeah, Rabbitohs, they just showed their class. Damien Cook, very, very good. Adam Reynolds, like Cody Walker, all the ones stepped up when it counted. Alex Johnson played pretty well. And yeah, that's just all the Rabbitohs need to do. They just need to win these sort of games. You know, you can lose against the top teams, whatever, it doesn't really matter. You just got to make sure you beat, you know, these teams like the Bulldogs that you should be winning. Because a lot of times teams go into these games not really respecting the other team, and, you know, they get a bit of an upset. So it's nice that the Rabbitohs, you know, for them, at this point in the season, and not still very early on, but, you know, they're not sort of letting their guard down that much. Because we saw the Storm do it a few weeks ago. Rabbitohs didn't do the same. On to the third game. I talked about this briefly just before, but probably match of the round. The Sydney Roosters defeat the Melbourne Storm by 1 point. I didn't see all of the game, but man, just that comeback. Cameron Smith really brought the Storm back into the game, but what a dominating start by the Roosters. They're just on fire at this point. But I mean, credit to the Storm for coming back, but it did take a few injuries. Luke Keary got knocked the hell out. But yeah, the Roosters, they're just a class team. I think they're a class above. Even the Storm, as good as they've been to start off the season, Roosters just on another level. And I think we all knew going into the season that the Roosters were probably the top team, well, definitely the top team. They just got better from last year and they won the premiership, you know, signing Angus Crichton and that. But yeah, they're really proving it on the field. Sometimes off the field, and especially after they've won it last year, teams come out and they play alright in the first few games, but they don't really go on with it. But it looks like the Roosters definitely will be up there. So yeah, Roosters looking good. Storm actually looked pretty good themselves. I mean, you know, they did have that big comeback. Like I said, there were a few injuries in that, but at the end of the day, they did have a big comeback. Wasn't meant to be though. They didn't win the game though, and that's the main thing. And yeah, Latrell Mitchell, what a star he is. I mean, that try he set up, and then also that field goal, just amazing stuff from Latrell Mitchell. And another case of me getting rid of him in the Supercoach and then coming back to bite me on the arse. The next game saw the North Queensland Cowboys defeat the New Zealand Warriors. Now, I saw the first half of this, and I went away and I was like, oh yeah, Warriors going to win this one. I think the Warriors had the lead. And I really thought Warriors were going to win this in front of the home crowd. But then, I guess the Cowboys just stepped it up in the second half. It looked like Michael Morgan had a really, really good game. I think he kicked a 40-20, set up a try or something. But yeah, he's definitely the star of that team, especially now that Tamalolo's out. But looked like Josh Maguire really stepped up in the second row, actually, which was quite interesting. Asiata in at lock. But yeah, maybe the Cowboys starting to find their feet, maybe not. I mean, it's only the Warriors, but I mean, defeating the Warriors in New Zealand, it's tough for any team. So getting their job done there, you know, it's a credit to the Cowboys. But yeah, they just need to find some consistency. Jake Clifford actually looked pretty good in the parts that I saw. So maybe they've finally got a partner for Michael Morgan. I know they've tried a few people, Tamari Martin and that. But yeah, Jake Clifford, he looks the goods. I think him and Morgan should be a pretty good combo going forward. Granville, they need to do something with Granville in that hooker position. He's just not doing it for me. But yeah, Cowboys get the job done. Warriors disappointing. Fuster is out with an injury as well, so it's a big loss for the Warriors. But yeah, Cowboys, they look good. Now to probably what was the most controversial game of the round. We have the Dragons defeating the Manly Sea Eagles. Now I've got to admit, I didn't see much of this game. I was out, like I just said before. But I saw the ending of it. Definitely a bit of a controversial ending there. The Dragons sort of, I don't know, the Dragons, they just seem to be getting the job done. I'm saying that about a lot of teams, but they're sort of a team that's probably overachieving at this point. But yeah, Corey Norman stuff doing a good job. But the real talking point was the last thing where Ruben Garrick was taken out. I don't know whether I would give it a penalty. I mean, by the book, he definitely was sort of run off the ball or whatever. But I don't think he's ever going to get to the ball. But it doesn't really matter. I've seen penalties given just because they run off the ball. Just the fact that they did it probably should have been a penalty. Would have been a tough kick from out wide though. There's no guarantees he would have kicked it. I know Manly fans would be blowing up. I would be if I was a Manly fan, but I'm not. So yeah, Dragons, they got the job done. Good job, Dragons. Now on a Sunday, usually talking about the Bulldogs here, but instead I'm going to be talking about the Gold Coast Titans who absolutely flogged the Newcastle Knights. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, to be honest. Now, going into the game, I thought Newcastle were going to win. I didn't think they'd win by much, but I thought they were going to win. Definitely not the case. Titans absolutely destroyed them. It was a destruction. It was honestly like, I don't know what's going on with the Knights. We say that every week. I come in here and I say, surely the ball's got to drop for the Knights. They're finally going to get their shit together. This is the week, yada, yada, yada. No, definitely not the case. I think I've given up on the Knights this season. Maybe just they were too hyped up. At the same time, like, Titans were quite a hyped up team going into the season as well. Obviously, they haven't been great, but finally starting to find their feet there in front of the home crowd. Wright James, season-ending injury, which is disappointing for them, but and I think Kevin Proctor didn't play as well. I can't say they really missed them. I mean, by the score, it was a really good performance from the Titans. Very clinical, and yeah, the Knights, they just suck. Apart from Kalen Ponga and David Clemmer, they're only real two good players, Rabian maybe, but like, yeah, Mitchell Pearce isn't doing anything. Connor Watson's being pretty trash. Yeah, it's just not been a good season for the Knights so far. Now moving on to the Canberra Raiders who defeated the Brisbane Broncos. Great performance from the Raiders. Now going into the season, I had them in at last. Now before the season started, I already knew, yeah, that's probably a bad move considering some of the other teams when I saw their lineups. But the Raiders, I didn't think they'd be going as good as what they were, especially with their halves combination. I thought Jack Whiten in the halves would just be shit. In fact, he's actually playing pretty darn good at the moment. His defense is very, very good. He actually did some good kicks the other night. He kicked a 40-20. I don't know if it was intentional, but he kicked a 40-20. He's actually just playing very, very good. But Nicole Klotstad has been the find of the season. Jack Whiten I actually thought Jack Whiten was an alright fullback, but Nicole Klotstad, him going there, just having that, he's just so reliable. He's so reliable, but he's also not one of those reliable players who, is good in defense and all that, but doesn't really do too much in attack. Like, no, this dude can do everything. He's very, very good, Nicole Klotstad, especially for a guy with not much experience. Then you add in Whiten in the halves. Hodgson's still doing what he does. Sam Williams just add that little bit of stability in the halves as well and in the side, just directing them around. I think the Raiders have a really, really balanced side, which is really nice. I mean, they've got strike power in the centers. Jack Croker looks like he stepped up another level. Kotrick's doing the goods, on the wing. Same as Rapana. I mean, their forwards are very, very good. Bateman, what a player John Bateman is. Very, very good player. All the English lads just doing damage for the Raiders. But yeah, very, very good performance. But the same cannot be said for the Broncos. They look shithouse. They still look shit. So is this a reflection of the Raiders being very, very good, or the Broncos just being bad? The halves just once again not stepping up. No one in the forwards really stepping up. I think they started that Flegler. He's probably got a big future ahead of him, but I mean the forward pack, it was talked up massively by a lot of people. They talked about, this young forward pack, whatever. They're not really doing too much though. You add in the fact that Darius Boyd has been shithouse at the back. I mean, he definitely probably has gone a season too long, but hey, whatever. He's making the money, who cares? But yeah, just everybody, even like Asako and stuff, it's just not, there's nobody in particular you can look at that side and say, yeah, they're having a really good season. Maybe Tony Staggs, I don't know. But yeah, Raiders, they got the job done. A very, very good performance in Canberra. And I mean, it was a very close one in the end, but yeah, the Raiders definitely the better team. Now, on to the last game of the round. Now, we've seen some very, very close matches this round. this was not one of them. A total blowout. The Parramatta Eels demolishing the Tigers. I think it was 51-4. It was just a terrible performance from the Tigers. The amount of length of the field tries that they conceded, just way too high. I mean, you look at that very first try, Mitchell Moses scores, but a 7-tackle set. I don't know why Michael Cheek can't miss the one, putting in a grubber. It goes dead, and then Gutherson just runs through the middle and passes to Moses, and he goes the rest of the way. But Mitchell Moses, what a performance. He's actually having a really good season. I've got to admit, I've never really rated Mitchell Moses. Obviously, you can see he's got talent in attack, but I always thought his defense was shit, and he was a bit cocky and would do a lot of silly things, but he seemed to rule that in this year. Maybe it was Corey Norman was a problem, I don't know, or Luke Brooks, but yeah, speaking of Luke Brooks, did nothing the other night. But yeah, the Tigers in general didn't really do anything. The only one who I thought had a bit of go in them was Corey Thompson. I thought he actually was half decent, but yeah, the Eels, they were just on fire in front of their new crowd, but in front of the new stadium. Speaking of, that stadium looks amazing. It looks so bloody good. I want to go there, but yeah, the crowd really got them going, and in fact, the Eels gave the crowd something to get going for. So it's really good. I mean, there was a great atmosphere, and then when the Eels just come out and just kept scoring points, it just looked like a place you want to be. But yeah, the Eels, what a performance. Everybody, you can't really talk about like any standouts, but yeah, just everybody overall was very, very good. And Blake Ferguson didn't even play, and I thought Ferguson, him missing would be a huge loss for them. Wasn't really. Josh Hoffman came in, did a pretty good job. Sevo was alright. Gutherson has really stepped up this season again, and then Moses, they got a good little combination there. Reid Marnie, fantastic, scored a try, got me some good Supercoach points. But yeah, Eels, just a dominant performance, probably the best you'll find maybe this season. It was that good a performance. Mitchell Moses getting the first try scorer, first goal kicked, and first field goal. I just loved how he kicked his field goal right at the end for no particular reason, but hey, he's going to be in history books as the first point scorer for everything at that new stadium. So yeah, well done, Mitch Moses. Anyway guys, that was a quick roundup. Round 6 over and done with. On to round 7. If you did happen to enjoy this video, make sure you go ahead and smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Also make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. It's on the screen right now. It's Mr. Luke on YT. My Facebook page is in the description below. I've been posting a hell of a lot there more. And also go ahead and add me on Snapchat as well, Mr. Luke on YT. Anyway guys, that's the video done. I've got to go have a shower and get ready for work. I'll see you next time. Bye guys.